Hi everyone, so first I would like to introduce the components in our circuitry. So first we have the 2-inch LCD module, and then the Arduino microcontroller, and in the breadboard we have the buzzers, the sensors, and the 4 buttons for 4 different functions of our monitor. And then there's this adapter for the UTA tube. You can see it connects between the ventilator tubing and the endotracheal tube perfectly without any interference within the normal circuit. And this adapter sandwiches the sensors in between. And since we do not have the sensors in set up in this mechanism with the wires, I'm just going to show the device performance in this setup. So this is what it shows on the screen. On the top we have the heading for the endotracheal tube movement monitor. The state is 0 because no buttons have been pressed yet, the baseline has not been captured yet, and the sensor reading says OK, which means that sensor is reading distances just fine. The move variable shows the displacement from the reference position once the baseline has been captured, and it shows now that the baseline has not been set and the default threshold value is 5 millimeter, which means the system will sound an alarm once we capture the baseline, and if it moves beyond 5 millimeters towards the landmark or away from the landmark, it will trigger an alert. And on the bottom we have the button names, which is the button A corresponds to the setting the baseline, and B corresponds to increasing the threshold, C is for decreasing the threshold, and D is for muting the alarm. So if we press the button A for 3 seconds, it will reset the baseline, and the button D can mute the alarm and also can be pressed again to unmute that. Currently I have placed a piece of paper on top of the sensor to read the distance. The distance reads as approximately 29 millimeters. So I'm gonna press button A to set the baseline, and the baseline is at 27.9 millimeters, and we can see the movement from the baseline. So the negative movement denotes that the object has moved towards the sensor, and if I move it away, it shows a positive displacement. So positive means away from the target area, and negative means towards the target area. Currently our threshold is 4.5 millimeters. I will increase it with button B. So I can get to 5 millimeters, 5.1 millimeters, 5.3 millimeters, 5.5, and so on. And by pressing button C, I can get it down to 5 millimeters. So I'll keep it 5 millimeters. Show what happens when the object moves beyond the threshold. So if I take it away, it will keep increasing the displacement, and when it exceeds 5 millimeters, it will sound an alarm. But once it goes back within the threshold, it stops sounding the alarm. And similar goes for towards the target area. So even when it's negative 5 millimeters or positive 5 millimeters, so it will sound an alarm. And once it sounds the alarm, we can mute the alarm, and it will show muted, and we can unmute it as well by pressing the same button. And if we want to reset the baseline, I'm just gonna long press the baseline button to reset it. And to show the resetting settings, if we have a baseline, long pressing the same button A that we use to set the baseline, if we long press it, it will just reset the baseline.